All right, so the sun's not quite up yet, but it is time to clean up this hot mess. It is cold. It's like 40 degrees, so it's not super duper cold, but it's not warm by any stretch of the imagination. So getting out here early before the bees, we moved some trees, so hopefully the bees will go to the trees. And yeah, I was hoping to use my new mini tiller, but it's shoved back into the corner with behind a lot of heavy equipment that I can't move. So we're going to be doing this the old-fashioned way with our hands. I think I'm going to start with the hardest bed first and then work my way to the easier one. I think that's a better thing for my brain to do. So it just looks like things are getting easier as I go. And then when my husband is up and going, I will get him to either get out the tiller thing or the gas-powered weed eater to do the edges. Because I think what I'm going to do on the edges, since they are so dense, is weed eat them all down as much as I can and then lay down weed fabric. Because I think that is going to be the simplest solution to this problem. All right, let's get going, y'all. It's time to start the garden party.
Welcome to the chaos of the cleanup of the garden. This bed was the okra and squash bed from last year, and well, the squash got taken over by squash bugs, and the okra got about 8 to 9 feet tall to where I could barely reach the top of it. We're just going to go in, rip out all of these weeds. Luckily, in this bed, these weeds, once you find the base of it, they're not exactly hard to get out. It's just a little time consuming and that's it. But they are very viney, but the vines don't actually get into the soil, which makes it pretty simple to clean up, in all honesty. And I thought it was going to be the hardest bed. I was completely mistaken. What is your guys' worst type of weed that happens in your garden? Mine is like these big chunks. I think it's Johnson grass, but I'm not exactly sure. But it's a painful, painful thing to remove. This bed actually ended up being one of the easiest. This is the old green bean bed, and it produced so many green beans for us. It's insane. This year, this bed is going to be full of Roma tomatoes, and I'm probably going to put weed fabric down or just a boatload of basil and oregano. Though I'm not quite sure about the oregano because I want to keep all the perennials in the same beds so I don't have to keep going over and changing things. This was the massive pepper bed from last year that went a little crazy, and we got probably 7 pounds of Thai red hots because I didn't realize one Thai red hot pepper plant was more than enough. So, lesson learned, peppers produce a lot, especially the little ones on tree like things. If it looks like back in the corner that I'm leaving a weed, I'm not. That's feverfew, and it will come back every single year. Up here at the front right corner is chamomile that reseeded. It's why it looks so nice. And then the two baby chamomiles that we replanted when I was having a bad day. But honestly, this bed was fairly simple to weed as well. I think the hotness of the peppers was like, nope, nothing else is going to grow here. Sorry about you. This bed has become the bane of my bloody existence. This is the perennial herb bed, and whatever this viney crap is in here, it is terrible to try to get out. And there is no way I'm getting it all out. It's probably going to come back every single year, and I'm going to have to do this all the time. So, my plan is to pop as many perennials in here as humanly freaking possible so that they grow back every year and I never have to worry about the weeds popping up again because all my perennials will just suffocate the crap out of them. That is the plan. That was a little evil of a plan, but that is the plan. And my thyme came back beautifully over here on the left hand corner. And then right here where I'm slowing down a bit is I did find at least one lavender plant that perennialized, which made me super happy, which is why I'm going a bit more delicately in this area because I'm trying to find it and keep it covered and keep it alive. In this bed, we have lavender, thyme, echinacea, broadleaf sage, and comfrey. I believe that. Oh, we have some and thyme because I just talked about it. We have thyme, and I'm adding in a bit more lavender. I'm probably going to add in some more thyme and um, I think a few other things, but I'm not sure. I have to check my stock and see what's out there. What are the perennial herbs that you all love to grow in your garden? Mine is oregano. Well, my favorite herbs are oregano, basil, anything to make anything taste Italian. We love Italian seasoning, and I would much rather grow all of my stuff than have to buy that griddle at the store. For those of you who were around last year, this bed was part of our tomato jungle to where I went a little overboard and I didn't realize that there was a difference between determinate and indeterminate tomatoes, and these were all basically indeterminate tomatoes, and they all went just bat crap crazy. I mean, they went and exploded, and there were so many tomatoes I didn't know what the heck to do with myself. But these two beds were some of the easiest to weed. I don't know what the tomatoes did to the beds, but the weeds are coming out really super simple, and there just weren't many. But if you see the little sticks poking out of the ground, those are my hocus pocus lilies that I've never gotten to see bloom because the freaking deer eat the heads off of them every time they come near popping up. So I will be doing an allium jungle. This is another bed that was part of the tomato jungle, the front bed that is basically clean and took me all of 2 seconds because weeds just didn't grow there for some reason. I would love to know why. And that is my husband, who has finally woken up and come out and is going to help me weed eat all the crap. So I'm going to continue pulling the weeds from the further bed, which had like sacrificial herbs and things in it. There was some stevia, and there's also oregano growing in there, so that's probably where I'm going to put the rest of my oregano just to keep everything combined. So there is actually a plan. I do plan out all my stuff on growveg.com. This is, I'm not promoted by them or anything, but I do love it because I am somewhat of a techie and I like having a plan. I may not always stick to that plan. The goal this year is to stick to the plan. And I think it was at this point I started losing steam because whatever those big honkin' yellow things are, they have some deep flippin' roots, y'all. I have no idea what they are, but trying to get those out of the ground was just insane. I know it's a speed through and it looks like it's going super simple, but that was a lot of yanking and a lot of pulling, and it was intense. And I've gone back and forth about using weed fabric, not using weed fabric, using weed fabric in some places, but not in other places. And I'm still debating. Hopefully, this week I will be getting to the point where we're either putting down weed fabric or we're not. But planting is happening, so I have got to make a decision ASAP and just get things done. This is, I forget what was in this bed, probably freaking tomatoes. Um, oh, this was the old random bed that I stuck things in. These were flowers and things like that. But right now there are onions in there, so I'm trying to get all these weeds out without yanking out the onions, and it is not going well. So you're going to see here in a minute that I basically give up. I'm like, we're just going to wait until the onions are done and deal with it then. The same with the further bed and back. Like, I kept yanking out the onions, and they're not ready to be yanked yet. So that just, we get to wait. This is our old radish and pumpkin area. And if anybody saw last year, it went a little bad crab crazy as well. And then we got infested with squash bugs, and we had to come in and just yank everything. It was so disappointing. But up until that point, it was very, very beautiful and awesome, and I just absolutely loved it. This year, we are moving those to where the velociraptors can have a heyday if we get any squash bugs. Um, for these beds, I cannot remember for the life of me what I plan on planting here, but they're being planted. I do know that much. The back bed is the elephant garlic, which I tried to pull around some of the elephant garlic, but again, some of the weeds were so deep that I couldn't get out the weeds without yanking up the garlic, which is nowhere near ready to be pulled yet. So I'm going to do the best that I can with where I'm at and call it a day on that area. All right, and here we have the aftermath of the garden cleanup. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to get everything raked up and put into piles, and this crap gets a little heavy. So some of this will go to the chickens, some of it will go into the compost, some of it will go randomly outside of the garden. Because there's just so much of it, I don't have enough places for all of it. Though I think I'm going to turn the big dirt pile into a compost bin or a compost heap. I'm going to try. We'll see how it goes. I just need to figure that part of it out. So now that we have all the paths cleared up, I'm going to take my groundwork bucket, which I love. This thing is freaking fabulous and it has saved me so much backache. And we're going to just collect and dump. So right next to where I'm dumping that is a big pile of dirt that is now full of also weeds. So I need to figure out how to get in there and chop that up. But I'm thinking of turning that into a compost pile just because it's there and it's dirt and we need to use it. So I've got to figure out how to do that because I'm not quite sure yet. And yes, over on the left hand side, all the greenery are the raspberries that have gone a little crazy. And hopefully we'll get some this year and the birds will not take them all, which would be fabulous because I would very, very much love to have some raspberries in our lives. That would be fabulous. And this is where we are at this point. We ended up cleaning up the edges of the garden and putting down some weed fabric because it's just insane how crazy that gets. So, if you like these types of videos, please consider subscribing, liking, and commenting your favorite part of gardening down below. That would be fabulous. And if you would subscribe, I'd really, really appreciate it. Thank you. We just got over 100 subscribers, and that makes me so completely awesomely happy. Ooh, by the way, carrots started popping up, which is also fabulous. You can barely see them, but they're there. I also still need to do the weed spray stuff. Still have not gotten 2 days of sunshine. So there's that. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a blessed and absolutely magical week, y'all. Bye.